Hey, my name is Frances. I'm an immigration attorney, and we'll be talking today about the new executive actions from the new presidency, and also about the recent rise in raids and checkpoints that we've been having all around the country. I know I haven't posted anything for a while, so I just wanted to give my English speakers who follow me a little bit of information about several things that are happening right now. So the topic today is on the executive action and the rise of all these raids that are happening everywhere, not just LA, in Orange County, California, San Francisco. The major topics that I've been getting are residents who are very afraid of leaving the country for just various reasons. One of the reasons is because they've heard that permanent residents are being detained at the border and they're not being allowed in. A lot of people are mistaken with the ban that occurred early on, where it was tied to 7 countries specific. So a lot of people were afraid of traveling. But now a lot of people are just afraid because they know that they have something in their history. Either they were detained a long time ago. Some of the questions that I've been getting is just people who were detained because they had a friend in the car and they took away the car, but nothing happened. I've been getting a lot of those. I've been getting a lot of people who said, I have convictions from a very long time ago. Technically, they shouldn't hurt me because I got my green card afterwards. But now we need to be very cautious with these detentions and arrests because with the executive action, it has called for more screening processes when we come through the borders, when we're at the airports or when we come through San Diego, they're screening us more, meaning they're paying more attention to those detentions and asking us questions or taking us to secondary inspection. So I suggest that for all those people who have those questions, that you come and you do your FBI reports. That way I can see how you should be responding to these questions. The second topic that I'll go into is court and how the new executive actions have affected court proceedings and admin closures. Now, I've been telling this to a lot of people. If you're not in court, most of what I'll say won't really not matter to you, but you won't really understand it. But under the Obama administration, there's such thing as prosecutorial discretion, meaning if you're in court and you really weren't a priority, meaning you didn't have any crimes, you had kids in the United States, you were here for more than 10 years or more than 7 years, you filed your income taxes. When you were faced of going into court, most likely the government used to give you prosecutorial discretion, meaning I don't think you are a priority, so I want to detain or I want to deport the person who has committed crimes. Now, the sentiments around prosecutorial discretion are almost gone now. We're anticipating that if you are in court proceedings, you're going to remain there even if you're not a major priority. That's hurting a lot of people who have asylum applications. Even if they're weak, most likely we're going to have to submit all the applications with all the evidence and have to go to trial, have to go to the end result to see if you or your family member gets asylum. So it's just putting a lot of pressure if you're in court. And we're anticipating that prosecutorial discretion will be used very mindful on certain people. The next topic and the main topic that I want to cover is just existing applications. I've been getting a lot of calls from people who have TPS, who are just anxious to find out if TPS will still be an ongoing application. As of right now, we're still getting approvals of TPS. I'll let you know that for most people that have applied in September, we are now getting the renewals at this point. So again, I want to remind people for TPS that you're allowed to have one misdemeanor offense so long as you were giving a sentence of less than 180 days. That includes DUIs, petty thefts. You're allowed one. If you get the second one, it disqualifies you from TPS. So that's one thing that hasn't changed. So be very careful about picking up that first or picking up that second, or it will disqualify you. But for people who are asking me whether TPS is no longer an application, I say it's still ongoing. We're still getting approvals. DACA, which is one of the main topics now that we heard the president have a speech today actually regarding DACA. That's the number one area of calls that I've been getting, or area of interest. So a lot of parents of DACAs are coming into my office saying, oh, I don't want DACA anymore. I want this other thing. And I say, why are you saying you don't want DACA anymore? Or why are you saying that you wouldn't want your kid to apply for DACA? Parents are starting to think that DACA is no longer an application, or they're afraid to file. I'm taking the stance of going completely opposite and saying right now is a good time to file for DACA, because if President Trump wants to get rid of DACA and gets rid of it in about a month, if you've applied right now, they can't take it away retroactively. So if you've applied today, technically you're going to get a receipt, your biometrics appointment, and if you get approved, well, at least you'll have it for the next 2 years. So I take the stance that if you qualify for DACA, if this is your first time, you should do it as soon as possible. Now the DACA renewals is still ongoing as well. So you have about 100, I believe it's 150 days prior to the date that your your card expires to renew. So I say you mark your calendars up to the 150 days and renew as soon as possible. The next topic that I want to go into is advanced paroles for people who have DACAs and who have taken advantage of advanced paroles, which is the opportunity to leave the country under DACA or TPS. There's a lot of caution right now on those applications. I still have a lot of them pending. The last person that came in and out of the country under advanced parole under DACA happened to be like 2 days before the new administration. So it was still nerve-wracking, and it still worked. So she still came in and out, no problems. Now, I haven't had anybody leave under this administration, but a lot of my colleagues in immigration, they're being very cautious about letting people leave under these advanced paroles. And the one thing that we're saying is, if you're gonna leave under advanced parole, you should leave for the reason that you've stated you wanted to leave. For instance, if the reason why you want advanced parole was to go see your father who's still in your home country, you should go visit your father and not just go to the border, because most likely you'll be detained and will be asked, or you can show your cell phone that you went to go see your dad. But if you don't have any pictures that you went to go see your dad, that may pose a problem that you're abusing, right, the advanced parole. So most people are saying you are still going to be allowed to come in and out, but go for the reason that you've requested. That's key. So I'm still doing advanced paroles. A lot of practitioners are still doing them, but cautiously. So meaning if you have some kind of crime or problem, most likely we will take a judgment call to say, I don't think you should do advanced parole. So check with an attorney, or check with me to see if it would be advisable to do an advanced parole. Waivers under the regulation I-601A, okay? Keep mindful that I said regulation, and the reason why I said regulation is because it's not an executive action. Obama did not create something that said, we're allowed to do I-601As, which is the waivers that are applied here in the United States. Because it's a regulation, it has not been affected by any executive action, meaning that if you have a spouse who's a resident or a citizen, or you have a mom or a dad who's a resident or a citizen, you are allowed to take advantage of the I-601A, which is the waiver inside the United States before you have to leave to your home countries. That's key, because a lot of people are confusing this and thinking that a lot of these applications are gone when they're not. The number one complaints or people coming in are people who have started to do this application years ago. I'm talking 2012, 2013, and they stopped. And the reason why they stopped was because back in 2012, 2013, there was no I-601A. It was just the 601 waiver, meaning you first needed to leave the country and then submit your waivers abroad, meaning you had to be outside of the country for more than 6 to 8 months, usually. Now, the 601 changed everything. Now you can submit those waivers here in the United States and wait those 6 to 8 months here with your family members. The reason why I say that I've been getting a lot of people who stopped the process in 2012 and 13 is because those are the people that if you're out there, you need to apply immediately, because now is a good time. Most of the reasons why they stopped the process was because an attorney had to tell them, well, you technically now have to leave 6 to 8 months. And most people got scared when they heard that they needed to be outside the country. So if you're one of those people, you know somebody that stopped this process or it was taking too long, now's a good time to take advantage of the 601A, which is allowed here in the United States. If you have any questions later on, you can either email me or send me a message through Facebook, and I will respond. There's a lot of questions on check-ins. Now, we've seen a lot of detentions. I've had a friend who went with their client, an attorney friend who went with their clients, and their client got detained when they went to check in with ICE. The reason why this is happening more and more is because of the executive action that makes a lot more people a priority to be detained and questioned. So this technically is happening to people who already have some sort of crime. Now, we've seen a lady in Arizona who's been the poster woman for this type of check-in, where she was checking in with ICE because she had a Social Security fraud of some sort a long time ago. And she was checking in with ICE, and then ICE went to her house and picked her up, and she's seen, taken away on a bus, and her daughter's there speaking about her. So these are the type of issues that we've been seeing. People who have very serious crimes from a long time ago that have not been deported, but they keep checking in with ICE because ICE says right now is not a good time to deport you. You have kids. Right now, technically, they're saying it's all game. You can't be detained. So there's a lot of confusion as to who should go check in. And I'm telling you, I have even family members that ask me that if they should even go to do check-in. So you want to confirm with your attorney, or you want to confirm with somebody that knows whether you should go or you shouldn't go. And lastly, there's a lot of info that I just gave, but lastly, I want to touch on 245I and 245A, which is the applications where some family members are waiting for their turn of their visa to become current. Now, I get a lot of F4 petitions. So somebody had a brother or sister petitioned for you a long time ago. Just want to say that right now for those applications, the priority date is in May of 1997. But if there's another chart also in immigration where you can check, where it says that you can submit your applications as early as if you have a priority date of December 1st of 1997. A lot of people don't take advantage of this, meaning a lot of people don't know, or certain attorneys don't know how that works. That means that if you have a petition right now of a priority date that says December 1st of 1997, even though you're checking your priority date and it says that it's not current because it's technically in May of 1997, there's another chart that says you can now submit your application. What will happen is that as it's processing, you get a work permit in the middle. I tell you because I have a lot of people whose priority dates are not current yet, but we're still able to submit the application about a year in advance. So if you have a family member that's waiting for their visa priority dates, let them know there's another chart that you should be checking to see if you can submit your application even before the main chart says that you can. I know it's a little bit confusing, but if you have that family member, you know who you are, that you're just waiting with the little piece of paper that says a priority date, this is a good time to check those priority dates and make sure that you're not missing an opportunity to submit your application before that time. I know that a lot of parents who have applied for their daughters over the age of 21, that's another popular visa. It's also in the 90s. If you want more information, you can message me or contact me through Facebook. So thank you so much, and later on we will be giving more topics. I will also be sharing this in Spanish. That way, if you want to share this with your friends and families who speak English, you can share this one. And if you'd like to share with your family members who only speak Spanish, I'll have also a video in Spanish with the same topics to go over one by one. So thank you so much for listening in, and we'll have more topics later on.